Right now, I am here with Stephen Johnson, former quarterback at the University of Kentucky. He is most known for his leadership in Louisville and helping UK to get to their first bowl game under Mark Stoops. But before we start talking about your time at UK, I want to ask, what have you been doing since you graduated from UK?
Since graduating, I've been back here in California. I run a home remodeling company called Premium Cabinets. Growing up, I wanted to be an architect, and this is kind of the closest I got to being that. So I'm just doing that and really enjoy it, and taking it to higher heights right now.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I just wanted to talk about your personal life with growing up with Tourette's as well. Have you had any problems with that? I know you said you overcame it one night. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, since that night, I've told this story a bunch of times since being at UK. But since that night, I have not seen it not once, which is truly a blessing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's start talking about now college with UK. So what made you choose Kentucky after being at a JUCO college?
I really chose Kentucky because it was obviously being in the SEC, being able to play against the best in the nation. I was originally committed to the University of Hawaii while I was at junior college, and loved Hawaii, loved the team, loved the coaches, obviously loved the place. But while was in my commitment phase and getting ready to sign, the paperwork really didn't come through at the time. And in between those 3 days that I was supposed to get the paperwork and finally showing up, I got a call from Coach Henshaw, who was obviously the one of the coaches at the time at UK. And he asked me if I wanted to take a visit. And I said, might as well see what else is out there. And as soon as I got to Kentucky, absolutely fell in love. Mm-hmm. So then decommitted from University of Hawaii. And then the next week I was at Kentucky.
I did not know actually you committed to Hawaii before, coming
yeah.
to UK. So now let's talk about your first time ever playing with UK. What was the difference between whenever you played in Florida versus whenever you finally played a full game with New Mexico State after Drew Barker got injured in both games?
It really wasn't that big of a difference as far as my play. The true difference was the skill level. Playing in Florida against Florida, very first time going out to play a football game since junior college, was a bit overwhelming. We obviously lost that game, and then next week playing against New Mexico, that game against them was a lot easier. Skill level wasn't the same, so the game slowed down, and I was able to catch up a little bit at the time. So going into that first Florida game, a bit rough, but then after that, it gradually got a little bit easier once we started getting going.
And in the New Mexico State game, I was actually there. You had 3 passing touchdowns, 310 passing yards, and a win 62-45. So it was definitely a very big offensive game. So So now let's talk about actually your first win as a starter. Oh no, your video went out.
Oh, sorry about that.
But let's talk about your first win as a starter, though. It was against South Carolina. You passed over 100 yards in a win. How did you feel after the first game you started at UK?
It was great. It was really good because at the time, losing to Florida and then playing a team like New Mexico, you really don't know where your skill level is because one is a SEC powerhouse, the other is a Division I school, but they're not the same caliber as Florida, obviously. So going in and then playing against South Carolina and then winning that game kind of showed me personally that I can go ahead and take this position and take this role and be a Division I SEC quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And I know after the South Carolina game, we played against Alabama. How were you still able to play with fighting through pain and injuries throughout the season?
For me, it was never difficult. I was um, always really critical and tough on myself. Um, I was and am not and never will be a quitter. So I was willing to kind of go out there and do what I had to do, whatever numbing shots I needed, whatever the case was. I was going ahead and go ahead and take those, and just kind of continue playing.
Mhm. And is that also a reason why you did not pursue an NFL career after college and retire from football?
Yeah. After that last bowl game for me, I knew the injuries, I knew the surgeries that I needed. And I had to have a real come to Jesus moment with myself of, is this what I want to do and what I want to put my family and my friends through really for the rest of my life? Because my body was up. I was torn down, and I had to really make a decision of, all right, is this something I want to do forever or not? And I just decided on the latter. And that was definitely the biggest decision for me of not trying to pursue football after college.
Mhm. Have you had any problems with injuries after college at all, or any problems at all?
None. It's really awesome to wake up Sunday mornings and not be in pain. It's really cool to be able to do that. But no issues, no problems. I go snowboarding and don't have to worry about getting hurt. I am able to play basketball. I'm able to play softball if I want to, but still no injuries since football.
All right. So after the Alabama game, Kentucky went on a three-game win streak. The one game that stuck out to me and the rest of the UK fans was Mississippi. How did it feel to help you the drive where Austin McGinnis was able to hit the game-winning field goal for UK?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that Mississippi State game was definitely not my best game for me. Um, I know I had a false start in the Wildcat position, and I'm always real critical of myself on that particular game. But it was definitely a big one to be able to take the ball down the field, and get Austin a chance to go ahead and kick a game-winning field goal. We all knew he had the leg. Still kind of frustrated with the Rams that they decided to boot him, but it was definitely one of the coolest ones to be able to run on the field after that, go hug Austin, and then just build the team and be happy after that.
All right. And then we're going to talk about the Austin P game. Coach Stoops decided to rescue at the very beginning. You all were down 13 to nothing at the very beginning. And then finally, Coach Stoops allowed you to come back in and you helped UK seize the game and get UK to the first ever bowl game by getting to 6 wins. How did that feel for you to be able to get UK to the first ever bowl since 2011?
It felt great. To be quite honest with you, I did not want to play that Austin P game. My good friend Luke Wright, who started the quarterback for that game, I wanted him to kind of show everybody what he could do, and didn't start off very great. And Stoops kind of asked me, hey, kind of need you to go in here. So tightened up my cleats, made sure everything was good, and made sure my knee brace was all right, and went in and won that game. But it was good to be able to win that sixth game and kind of go on to have our first bowl game of this really under Stoops.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's talk about the game that everybody loves to talk about, UK versus U of L in 2016, where you helped UK beat Louisville and Lamar Jackson 41-38. What did he say right before you threw a 75-yard touchdown pass to Garrett Johnson at the very beginning of the game?
Well, the words that came out of my mouth was "I love this shit," and for me, it was truly what I meant and what I felt at the time. Being the underdog, going into a game, having people scream and holler and curse and wish bad things upon you. For me, that is my biggest fuel. It was at the time as well. So for me, I just kind of uttered what was in my mind and didn't think the camera was on my face, but that's how I felt. And second part of that was uh, being able to see the defense when we have a touchdown right off the bat. You don't get that much often in football, but to be able to see it in advance, know, oh, this guy's gonna be running wide open by himself, can only just put a big smile on your face.
Also, how were you able to stay calm during that game as it was back and forth the whole way?
For me, I love chaos, and I love chaos in football. Um, it surprisingly slows everything down for me, um, which is not normal and not something that most people can say. But for me, the more the chaos, the more I'm centered into myself, and can kind of rely and relax a little bit. So to be able to go back and forth, and know you have a chance to beat a team that is favored, um, heavily, overuse, a calming feeling for me. Yeah, we went on to win that game.
Mhm. All right, now let's talk about the first ever bowl game UK played against. It was the Tax Slayer Bowl game against Georgia Tech. What did it mean to you to be able to play a bowl game for Kentucky and getting them there?
It felt great to be able to go to a bowl. Not a lot of teams can say that. A little more now than in the past, but still, it is a big achievement and accomplishment for a team and for a program, especially for the fans, to give them another game, kind of going into the holiday season, to watch and enjoy their players that they support so much. The game didn't go our way. Going against that triple option is never easy, especially if that's not what you're used to. You're going up against guys that throw the ball down the field and spread it out. It's a little different to be able to go against guys that pack everybody in with each other, and are running every which direction. So, yeah, it wasn't our best game, but it was great to have the experience to go.
All right, now let's get into your second season. UK started out 3-0, but let's talk about the South Carolina game. South Carolina refused to shake hands with you along with the other captains. Do you think you used that as motivation during the game as you went on a key 54-yard run with a little less than 6 minutes left in the game?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The beginning of the game, they did not shake our hands. And for me, like I said, I love being the underdog. I love being, in a way, disrespected by another team. It just adds more fuel for me. So, um, throughout the game, probably not the best thing, but I was looking for every opportunity I could to try to get one up on the guy that didn't shake my hand. And I finally did. I had a big one kind of down the sideline near our sideline, and just so he could know that I knew what he did, I kind of stuck my tongue out at him and let him feel a little bit. But to be able to win that game in their stadium, with their fans wearing all black, was really cool.
I was actually about to ask you about you sticking out your tongue, but you already answered that question. Kentucky went on to beat South Carolina 23-13 that game. All right. Before we talk about the Tennessee game from that year, what made you want to jump over a player in the Missouri game?
For me, I've never been the biggest guy. I've always wanted to be able to run people over, but my body kind of says otherwise. So I know I can jump fairly high. So when you're running at a guy, you can kind of see him dip his hips and his knees. You know you can get the opportunity to make a highlight play. So in that game, for some reason, most of the guys on their team didn't want to tackle me up high against my chest or my head or whatever the case may be. And so I knew, I was like, oh, I can get a little momentum booster right here, trying to jump over somebody. So I was on the sideline with Nick and told him, hey, I'm going to jump over the next guy I see. And the next guy I saw when I had the ball He dipped his hips and dipped his knees, and I knew I could get over him. Unfortunately, that there was a second guy there after I got over the first guy, but it was cool to be able to jump over, other grown men. So.
All right, now let's talk about the Tennessee game a little bit. You got injured. UK was up 21-20 at the time. You got tackled and landed on your shoulder. What happened to your shoulder to cause that injury?
Yeah, so my shoulders were bad. My AC joints in particular, both of them. The left side a little bit more than the right. Anytime I'd fall on them, I'd lose complete feeling. I wouldn't be able to move my arms. So there was no pain associated with it. It was just complete numbness, as if I was paralyzed. Fell on my shoulder, went into the locker room. The only remedy for it is getting a numbing shot, which seems contradictive, but the numbing shot really kind of wakes your arm up. And once I got that shot, it kind of woke my body up, not just my arm. And I felt as if I had felt like I was $1 million. So just wanted to come back and play some more and be with the team. And kind of ran out that locker room and heard everybody screaming and shouting, and which was really cool to be able to experience.
All right. And then in the final drive, the very last play, it was a RPO for Benny Snell Jr. What made you decide to keep the ball and run into the end zone to secure the win for Kentucky and make Kentucky Bowl eligible for the second year in a row?
Well, with RPOs, yeah, as a quarterback, you're keying really three different people. You're keying outside or a defensive end, you're keying a linebacker, and you're keying the guy over the slot receiver. So usually it's like a dead straight line moving forward as you look at them. The DN squeezed down towards Benny, and what usually happens after that is the linebacker will pick you up as a quarterback. But in this case, he had his eyes on Benny because Benny was kind of tearing him up. And for me, it's like, his eyes are intentions of where his body's going to go. So if his eyes are on Benny, his body's on Benny. So once I saw that, I knew I could keep the ball. As long as I got a good block on the outside, I could run that in, and I got a good block from Garrett and from Ross, and was able to kind of jump into the end zone. Like I said, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so I'm not going to try to run anybody over. So at least I can stretch my arms and my body and try to push that ball over into the end zone.
How was your shoulder feeling once you got into the end zone, because he landed on your shoulder again? I know
that numbing shot was still working its wonders in my arm, so really didn't feel anything. And plus all the adrenaline and the crowd screaming and shouting really helped me to not feel much at all.
All right, now we can get into the bowl game again for the second year. How did it feel when Benny Snell Jr. got ejected? Was it a big blow for you and the team?
Yeah, with Benny, it was weird because I didn't see the play. All I saw was the referee afterwards saying that Benny was ejected. So I went up to the ref and asked him, kind of what happened, and he's told me that Benny hit him, and everybody knows you can't hit refs. So I was like, well, I mean, if Benny hit you, doesn't sound like Benny would do that, but if Benny hit you, then clearly he's out the game. Later on in the game, I get laid out of bounds, no flag. And once again, my shoulders can't feel them. So I go into the locker room, and Benny's in there with his family. And I asked Benny, kind of what happened. And he said, the referee tried to help me up, and I just kind of put my hand straight down my body. And that kind of upset the referee, and he didn't want to, didn't like that. I didn't want his help. And watching the replays of it on the TV in the locker room, you could see that's exactly what happened. And it was frustrating that was Benny's last game of the season and last time I was going to be able to play with Benny. So going out into the second half, try to do what we could. But yeah, that was that.
And I was actually going to ask you as well about you getting a late hit out of bounds. They didn't call it, but You already explained it. So let's talk about the final play. You decided to run the ball. It worked out. You got the touchdown for the Cats. UK trailed by 24 to 23. Who made the final call to go to who made the final call to go for the 2-point conversion to try to win the game that night?
Overall, it was Coach Stoops, but everybody out there knew we were going for two. None of the linemen, none of the receivers, myself, back, we all knew we're all staying on this field. And we all looked at kind of Coach Stoops at the same time. He just kind of waved us back, like, go, like, we're going for it. This is the moment to do it. We all knew that the play that we were going to run, kind of a design screen slash pick play to get Garrett open in the bottom of the end zone. It didn't happen. There was a mix up with the pick there, with the design pick, and the guy kind of stayed with Garrett. So I tried to throw a high ball to Taven, and just right a little too high off the tips of his fingers. And that was the end of it.
It was a good game. I remember I was watching the game. I think I was actually in Canada whenever the game happened. But I was all for the 2-point conversion. I know some fans were upset about that, but I was okay with the 2-point conversion. You all had the momentum at the time for the game, so I thought it was a good call. But my final couple of questions for you is: how do you think UK fans remember you now?
I don't know exactly how they remember me, but if I could wish them to remember me by anything, it would probably just be that I was a hard worker, did everything that I could for the team and for the program, and just a guy that never quit.
What was your favorite game as a Wildcat?
It's tough for me because the Tennessee one is really high up there, but I would have to say the Louisville game at Louisville. That's definitely my favorite one.
Yeah, since we were huge underdogs, how much were we? I think 0.7-point underdog.
Yeah, something real high, the high 20s or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an insane game. I'm glad we pulled out the win against Louisville and Lamar Jackson. But that's all the questions I have for you. Would you like to add anything else to this interview?
Say that again?
I said that's all my questions I had for the interview. Would you like to add anything else?
No, I mean, just go and support the Cats this year. I mean, they are going to be a very good team behind Will and Chris Rodriguez and Josh Pascal. Josh, I know, is one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. A truly, truly tremendous leader. And excited to see them. Hopefully I can get back and see some of the fans and see the guys in action this year. So that's just about it.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Day.
Thank you.